Hello, I'm Rodney Irwin, and welcome to the Bad Animal Show. In this segment of the Bad Animal Show, we will be discussing the Burmese python here in South Florida. Hello, I'm Rodney Irwin. My company is Alligator Associates, and my experience in hunting snakes and reptiles would probably date back to when I was a child growing up here in South Florida. What does it take to be a python hunter? Good eyes, that is, as they are kind of difficult to find. They camouflage very well. You find them in trees, in the water, on the bank, sunning themselves. Once you've located the animal, then it's up to you to capture it. And what's helpful in capture? Once again, good eyes and fast reflexes. Especially with venomous snakes, there is no second place. The penalty for failure is not failure. The penalty for failure can be death. That's the grip you got to have on them. You want to come right to the base of the head. If you give him any slack from that, he'll turn his head around and bite you every time. You can see the banding right behind his eyes. Those black lines that go back are one of the things that identify him as a Burmese. And also the belly on a Burmese looks like that. Kind of the way it's done. Nice looking snake. It's probably 6.5 foot or so. It's healthy. Good color to him. Well, everyone has their own motivation, their own reason for hunting pythons. I don't do it for the thrill. I don't do it for the adventure. I don't do it for the adrenaline. I do it because it needs to be done. Today we're going to be talking about the Argentine tegu lizard here in South Florida. The tegu that we're dealing now with here in South Florida is originally a native of Argentina, and that is the Tupinimbus marianae. The population that is causing problems here in the extreme southern part of Dade County, Florida, were part of a breeding program from an operation that was breeding for the pet industry. And about 10 years ago, there was a release/escape, and the animals got out of their enclosure. This animal is very well adapted to the climate and the ecosystem here in South Florida and has done remarkably well at reproducing and expanding its range. A python eats one animal at a time and may not eat for 2 months, whereas tegus, they're omnivores, but they prefer meat and they prefer eggs, which is the real threat. When you look at a python eating one animal versus a tegu going into a nest and eliminating an entire generation of eggs. Tegus have a high metabolism and they can eat a nest full of eggs and then move on. 2 days later, they're ready to eat again. And the University of Florida has done study on these South Florida tegus, and they're finding through telemetry experimentation that they are expanding their range, and currently they are moving to the east, where the largest population of American alligators in the country is located due east of where we're at here, about 8 miles. And the crocodile nest will be just completely exposed to the tegu because they're a really fast, aggressive predator when it comes to obtaining their food source. It's very hard to protect from an animal that small. They're very, very fast. The only way for a human to capture one is trap. If you try to capture one by hand, they're very aggressive. They will rear back on their hind feet and actually launch themselves at you.
These Argentine tegus are more omnivorous than other species of tegus. There are several other species of tegus, black and white tegus, golden tegus, red tegus. These Argentines tend to eat a more a wide variety of foods.
They are omnivores. They prefer meat. They actually prefer eggs over all else. But basically they eat anything that they can catch. And they can catch just about anything that gets in range of them. They can climb, they can swim. They don't really have a lot of barriers in terms of what they can tolerate here in South Florida. They're a beautiful animal. They sleep with their eyes closed and they dream. I looked at my enclosure the other day and I saw one eyes closed and his feet were moving just like a dog or a human does in a dream.
And they have an excellent sense of smell. I noticed the tongue is forked just like a snake's or a monitor lizard.
Yep, they have the Jacobson organ in the mouth, and with that tongue whipping they can smell from great distances. They can especially locate eggs and nest of other animals. Their low profile allows them to move on the ground in and out of locations that would be a problem for a taller animal such as a cat or a dog.
Right, and here in South Florida, a lot of avocado groves, a lot of mangoes, tomatoes, bananas.
We've got a lot of cane grass, which is it grows to a height of maybe 8 or 10 feet, and it grows very dense. It'll grow and then fall and then grow, and what you have is an area just above the ground surface, maybe a foot, which is just an underfoot system of highways for these guys.
So the cane grass folding in, it makes a little tunnel system underneath.
And that protects them in the wintertime. When they go into hibernation, they generally, from about 1st of October to mid-March, they don't truly hibernate, but they'll just lay down and kind of keep themselves covered and not really do anything
during the cool months.
Yeah.
Right.
In a lot of cases, as I approach the trap, the animal will sense movement and he'll start moving in the trap. I'm not sensing that in this trap, but that does not mean it's empty. You really have to pull it out and have a good look. And in this case, he's got a big male. And now I just got to reach in there and get him out without him getting the best of me. This is a tegu transport device. When I take them from the traps in the wild, I need a method where I can secure them and transport them. So over time, I've developed this system. It has a trigger pin safety. Pull this. Now you can remove the actual door. And in normal operations, I would have a tegu in one hand, open the door, put the tegu inside, close the door, and insert the safety pin. And now he's good to go to come back home and go into one of the enclosures.
When you build an enclosure for a tegu, you need to build it about 3 times stronger and more secure than you would think. They will spend their entire every second of waking life trying to find and exploit a crack or just anything that they can work on to open up to an opening. And once that happens, they're gone and they're back into the wilderness. Man has them where he can call them and they will come and jump into his lap. I personally can't imagine that because I see them, when I see them, I'm removing them from a trap and they're just as wild, as ferocious as anything can be. And if you have one for a pet, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. If you spend a lot of time with it and treat it right, they're fine pets. They live, I believe, approximately 10 years. If you encounter a tegu, leave it alone and call the 888 I've got one number. They will, if available, dispatch an agent to that area. If they may increase the trapping efforts in the area where they're getting calls, multiple calls on tegu sightings. The state is stepping up the program on tegus. The attention has focused quite a bit from pythons to tegus now, and I think FWC is to be applauded for that effort. Today we will be talking about capturing and trapping methods. This is a live capture trap. They've been around for quite a number of years. It's a good, solid platform for capturing nuisance animals like possums, raccoons, things of that nature. It's designed with a trip plate so that when the animal enters, the bait is here in the rear of the trap, and as it walks across the trip plate, the door closes, it's locked in place so it cannot be raised by the animal, and basically that's the simple side of it. This one is a single entrance trap. They also come longer with double entrance. This particular trap and most trap models have spacing between the bars that is large enough for some of the smaller animals that I trap to escape. So I have to make quite a bit of modification on these traps to, I have to modify them to the animal that I'm attempting to capture. On this side you can see the actual working operation of the trap is transfer weight here up through this bar to a small catch in a hole here in the door flap. So when the trap is deployed, you can see this bar move,
pulls the catch out and she drops down. This is a variation on the trap we just looked at. This is a larger live capture trap, has a single door. Basically the working principle are the same. The trip plate attached to a trigger mechanism right here, holding the door open. And as the animal walks across the trip plate, once again, door shuts, can't be opened from the inside. I like these traps because when you remove the animal, you can open the rear door as such, and that allows you to reach in and grab the animal and pull him out, as opposed to having to deal with keeping the front door open. And it gives the animal an advantage that I don't like to have them when I'm trying to remove them from the trap. This is a very sturdy, heavy black mesh material. I use it to ensure the smaller animals cannot escape through the holes, and it also keeps smaller animals, unwanted animals, out of the trap. It will go into the trap and steal your bait at every opportunity. And this is a finished trap. You'll note camouflage on the trap. That kind of serves a dual purpose. The lizards would prefer to go into a hole, something that's dark and kind of protective. And secondary purpose is it prevents the trap from being seen by people that might want to steal it.